This is the Chamber Chat Podcast, the show dedicated to chamber professionals to spark ideas and to get actionable tips and strategies to better serve your members and community. Hello, Chamber Champions. Welcome to Chamber Chat Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Burton, and it's my goal here on the podcast to introduce you to people and ideas to better help you serve your chamber members and your community. Our title sponsor for this episode is Bringing Local Back. Remember when your community could turn to a local TV station or newspaper for the latest updates and affordable ads? Those days may be fading, but the need for local connection remains. That's why we created Bringing Local Back, a game-changing platform that restores local visibility and advertising power to your community. It's more than just tech. It's about driving engagement and creating new revenue for your chamber. Ready to see the future? Visit bringinglocalback.com to schedule your demo today. This is the future of local commerce. Our guest for this episode is Peter Guzman. Peter currently serves as the president of the Latin Chamber of Commerce in Nevada. The Latin Chamber of Commerce is the most powerful Hispanic chamber in Nevada with over 45 years of community work and business representation. The Latin Chamber of Commerce has provided services to the community for over 45 years and continues to grow. The Latin Chamber of Commerce has been a beacon of light for the community and is a shining star of hope for those in need of assistance throughout the community. Peter is also an accomplished realtor, small business owner, and real estate investor, and he came to Nevada 50 years ago at the age of 2. But Peter, we're excited to have you with us today here on Chamber Chat Podcast. I'd love to give you an opportunity to say hello to all the Chamber champions who are out there listening and to share something interesting about yourself so we can all get to know you a little better.
Well, thank you for that incredible entrance. I appreciate it very much. It's amazing to hear that number of the length of years this chamber has been involved. We're approaching 50 years now. It's unbelievable. And my founder, Otto Merida, did an incredible job a long time ago, and I took over as president after him. But so thank you for that intro. Something interesting about me. I don't find myself that interesting, I guess, but something that people don't know is that I love turtles. I mean, I really love turtles, and I've had a desert tortoise now with me 24 years, and I just love that turtle to death. And I guess that's interesting.
That's cool. I had a pet turtle growing up, and it was just a box turtle. But whenever my brother would get upset with me, he'd go in my room and put the box turtle on top of its jar that had its water. So
Wow.
it'd stand up there and couldn't move. Right? It was just sit on top of the jar. He's like, thanks for that.
Yeah.
No, I've been a big fan of reptiles my whole life, so that's cool. Well, tell us a little bit more about the Latin Chamber of Commerce. Give us an idea of the size, staff, scope of work, budget, just to kind of set the stage before we dive into our discussion today.
Yeah, so like I said, our chamber's approaching 50 years, 48 to be exact, but we're approaching 50. And predominantly we represent the Hispanic community, but because of the strength and growth of our chamber, we're representing a lot more than just that, right? And so that was something that was intentional. I wanted non-Hispanic businesses to be doing business with Hispanics and vice versa. And so we've really accomplished that, especially over the last 3 years. 32% of my growth over the last 3 years has been non-Hispanic business owners. That's a really great number and very intentional because, again, I want business to be conducted and I want business to grow. And the only way you can grow is sometimes you got to go outside your comfort zone. And so, we have over 2,000 members. We are a statewide chamber. And like I said, we represent the incredible small business community, which, in my opinion, is the most important segment of our economy, representing the most job creations and just the whole plight of a small business owner. And we know how difficult that can be. And so we predominantly focus on that. We're very, very focused. So that's first and foremost. Of course, uh, because we've been around so long, and my founder, Otto Merida, did such a great job building a trust with the community. We have to get involved in a lot of other things, so we have people that show up at our lobby that need help with immigration, or, what hospital they should be going to, and all kinds of things that you wouldn't believe. So our responsibility at the Latin Chamber is much bigger than a lot of chambers who just focus on the small business community. We have to focus on even more than just that, because the demand is so big and the trust is so high with the Latin Chamber that inevitably my day is filled with all kinds of things. So I'm grateful for that, and look forward to our future.
Yeah. So being a statewide chamber, how many staff do you guys have, and where are you physically located? Are there multiple offices, or how does that
So
structure work?
so we're physically located in Las Vegas. Um, and we have about 8 people on staff and about 4 volunteers, and there's definitely room for more employees, but they got to be the right employees, and we're going to look at that in 2025, because we're just bursting at the seams. As far as other offices, we're in Reno a lot.
Okay.
Carson City is where it all happens as far as politically. So we always have an office there during this legislative session every 2 years. But stay tuned. The next time you and I have an interview, there's going to be a lot more news regarding that.
Okay. Well, build some anticipation there. I like
Yes.
that. Well, for our topic of conversation today, we're going to focus on the small business passion that Peter has. It really drives the work there at the Latin Chamber. And we'll dive in deeper on that as soon as we get back from this quick break.
Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Rose.
And we're the founders of At My Community, a mobile app that can be customized to meet the unique needs of your Chamber of Commerce.
When we started At My Community, we envisioned a tool that would help communities thrive by simplifying communication and enhancing engagement. Chambers of Commerce face unique challenges, and we're here to help you tackle them.
At My Community helps the Evergreen Area Chamber of Commerce to create an app that keeps tourists informed even when their office is closed. They provide 24/7 access to local business information, which helps support the local economy and community engagement.
In Rocky Mountain House, we helped Rocky Chamber create an app with dynamic itineraries and digital resources for tourists, increasing local business engagement. The app has become an essential tool for the community, promoting events and boosting visibility for local merchants.
Today, we empower more than 200 chambers of commerce, campgrounds, and RV resorts to streamline communication, informing members about events, sharing business updates, and providing a digital hub for the community, all in one convenient app.
When you partner with At My Community, our team works closely with you to create an app that meets your chamber's unique needs. As your community grows, our app evolves with you. We are here to ensure you engage effectively with your members and streamline your operations.
Schedule a demo today at atmycommunity.com.
We can't wait to meet you.
Chamber leaders, I know each of you works daily to boost your local economy and take your Chamber of Commerce to the next level. But let's face it takes funding, and lots of it. You need to know Resource Development Group. For 3 decades, they have been the premier economic development fundraising consulting firm dedicated to helping chambers of commerce and economic development organizations like yours thrive across the United States. Their expert team specializes in crafting customized fundraising strategies that drive tangible results so you'll be able to fully implement your community advancement and economic development strategies. Imagine having a partner who strives to understand your community's unique needs, brings national best practices to bear, and has the proven experience to secure millions of dollars in funding. Resource Development Group has successfully guided countless chambers of commerce in creating vibrant, sustainable economies. With their comprehensive suite of services, from campaign planning and execution to investor engagement management to best practice studies, RDG takes the guesswork out of fundraising. You'll receive personalized support and innovative solutions that make a real impact. Don't just take my word for it. Chambers of Commerce and EDO executives nationwide have praised RDG for their dedication, professionalism, and impressive track record of raising over $2 billion for their clients. Ready to see what Resource Development Group can do for your chamber? Visit them at rdgfundraising.com to learn more. Elevate your community, strengthen your chamber, and unlock new possibilities with Resource Development Group by your side. They build organizations that build communities. All right, Peter, we're back. As I mentioned before the break, we're focusing our conversation today around small business passion. And I hope everybody listening has a passion for small business. But when somebody says that that's always your focus, that's always your topic, that is your passion, I'm always curious to dive in deeper, to hear what drives you, what motivates you. And I think you may have alluded to it a little bit just with the novelties of the Latin Chamber, that it's more than just the small business community, but it's the community in general that you guys are focused on. But what is your approach? What gets you so excited when it comes to small business and serving that community?
Well, listen, when you think about, first of all, I'm very, very grateful for having been born in America, the greatest country in the world. I say that because my father escaped communism of Cuba and came here, and simply because he knew that his children will have a chance here. And so that's kind of where this beginning passion starts, right? Like, this is a country where a person can dream about owning their own business and can really pull it off. It's not an easy road, but certainly that's why I'm passionate about it, because nothing excites me more than knowing about folks that take their pension or their savings and starts their business, and one day starts it off, and 3 years later they're on their second or third location, or they're on, they went from 1 employee to 5, then to 15. We have those stories. They're very common in the Latin Chamber. And I don't, it's hard to pinpoint why that drives me and turns me on so much, but it just does. It just does. And I also, because I'm a business owner and struggled in the beginning, I know what that struggle feels like. So I know the struggle and I know the success of it. And I want everybody that wants that to feel that. And so that's why I'm so passionate in this position at the chamber, where I can actually pick up the phone, make some calls, and make things happen for folks, maybe a little quicker, maybe get them through an obstacle a little easier. That's what really drives me. Again, my founder and mentor told me, who opened this chamber and ran it. He said, "What good is the power if you're not using it to help others?" And so that's really the power of the chamber, is the ability, if you do things right, to be able to pick up the phone and make things happen a little quicker, maybe a little easier. That drives me every morning.
Yeah, I love that. I love just the idea of the American dream and being able to create a business and have it grow and be successful. And with you being a business owner yourself, to be able to relate to the members that you're talking to the potential chamber members, and being able to resonate with them, I think is super valuable.
Yeah, and listen, I like what you said in the opening there. Even if you're not a small business owner, your life's affected by a small business owner. Yeah. I mean, every time you get in the car, you need that car to run. So chances are you're going to, a mechanic, or, a small business owner that works on cars. We can start with that. Then when you need milk, you may not run into the big grocery store. You may just stop at a little place and grab a gallon of milk. So small business is intricate in our day-to-day life.
Yeah, I would say small businesses, that it's kind of the backbone to our ecosystem, to our our ability to be able to function as a society. And we saw it through the pandemic, where small businesses got shook pretty hard. And those businesses you might have counted on, reliably, that mechanic, or, the convenience store, whether they changed their hours because of, staffing issues through the pandemic, or whatever it may be that disrupted their normal day-to-day operations, we felt it as citizens that are trying to carry on with our life, and it throws a wrench in your schedule when that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah, and I mean, we haven't even touched the pandemic. I mean, what I knew, what I already had experienced and known, you can multiply it by 1,000 during the pandemic. I mean, the fact that small business people have to pivot every day in normal society because life changes, consumers' needs and wants change every day. So good business people know they have to pivot and meet those needs, right? Imagine during COVID, I mean, we were thrown such a curveball, and yet, especially in the Hispanic community, I saw these entrepreneurs pivot and figure it out. And I'm almost embarrassed to say that even during COVID, our chamber grew, first of all, which is unbelievable because we delivered things that they needed. We pivoted. That's what my mentality is. I'm a small business owner, and the chamber is a business, and we pivoted, and that's why we had success even through COVID. But that's how it is. That's how it works.
That's right. And being able to be nimble is so important because these small businesses, they're constantly pivoting. They're constantly doing what they can to figure it out just to make it work. You mentioned earlier, a lot of them put their entire life savings on the line to start a business, to be able to put their neck out there to provide a product or service, and constantly adjusting and honing in those skills to be able to make it work. Um, I'm curious, in the intros, you're talking about the Latin Chamber of Commerce. You had mentioned that with the recent growth, 32% of that growth is non-Hispanic business owners. And I'm curious the approach that you have to them, and especially as it comes to small business and being able to resonate to them, to have them participate with the Latin Chamber of Commerce. What's that approach been like? Because 32%, that's a good percentage to see that growth in that segment.
Yeah, and so I think that what was important was the fact that we intentionally went out and started going out to the community more, not just the Hispanic community. And we have a very vibrant events programming, which is a fancy way of saying network opportunities. And so I some people use networking improperly.
Okay.
I think networking is a science. I owe my entire very successful real estate career to networking and relationship building. And so there's networking where you walk in a room and have a cocktail and say hi to a couple folks you already know. And then there's networking science, which is walking into a room of people you do not know and getting to know people that you didn't know. And so we have that down to a science. And that just made us grow and grow and grow.
So as you were talking, I turned around and grabbed a book off my shelf. I've plugged it before on the podcast, but it's titled "You're Invited" by John Levy. And
great book.
Yeah, so the art and science of cultivating influence, and I think that should be on the mandatory reading list for any chamber to really curate a really effective networking situation.
And when you combine that, and I talk to young people, that's what really another passion of mine is, really talking to these young people who are still full of this innocence and inspiration and motivation. I love talking to kids like that because if you mold that right, they're going to be successful. And so I tell these folks how obsessed I was and am with networking and relationship building. I mean, literally, I came up with, and it's not scientific, but it's something that I drilled into my brain because I believe in thinking to grow power, thinking to grow rich, which is another book.
Yeah.
I convinced myself in year 2 of my real estate career that every new person I met was going to turn into 3 transactions, 3 real estate deals, one way or another, either directly or indirectly. I'm telling you that it absolutely worked and continues to work. And so what does that mean? It means I'm going to go up to people when I go into a room. I'll say hi to the people I already know, but it's going to be brief. I'm going right at the people I don't have no idea who they are. And I'm introducing myself. And that turns into transactions. That turns into deals. And so that's key to everything.
Yeah. Well, and that thinking gives you the confidence to make those approaches where a lot of people get in these networking situations and say, oh, I don't really know anybody. Or you come in and get your drink and then you have, all the different salespeople that are there coming and selling you, insurance
So
or whatever it is.
So that reputation really grew for the Latin Chamber of Commerce. People now openly all around the state talk about, it's a must place to be is one of a Latin Chamber events because they know there are going to be people of influence in that room. They know that there's going to be people they don't know in that room, and they're going to come from all walks, not just Hispanic. And so that grew from, 70 people to 150 people to 300 people to 500 people at a luncheon that we throw every month. You know what I mean? I mean, it just grew. And so we decided to even add a breakfast that we do monthly where we intentionally keep that a little smaller and intimate. So that's 50 to 80 people. It's called Desayunos con Amigos, breakfast with friends. And it's just wonderful opportunities. It starts there. I always tell folks that want to join our chamber, because I'm brutally honest, don't join our chamber just to check a box, because we're not interested in that.
Yeah.
We need to see value, and it's value both ways, not just one way. And so I tell them I'm not a magician. If you join this chamber and you apply yourself, inject yourself, you will have success. If you don't, then don't blame me for telling me you didn't get a return on investment on your membership.
Yeah. I've I've got several friends that have approached me because they know I do the podcast and I've worked with chambers a long time, and small business owners will approach me and say, "Hey, I know you work with chambers. Do you think I should join my local chamber?" Like, what do they do? It's like, well, I don't know. What are you going to do? Are you going to get involved, or do you just want to join and have some magic happen? Because you got to figure out what the mission of your chamber is, get behind it, get involved, volunteer, be a part of something to help build the community, and that's where you're going to see the magic happen.
It's like opening a business, right? You can't just decide that you're going to open this business, open the doors, and people are just going to come.
Right.
No, that it takes marketing, it takes effort, right? Same thing with a chamber, but the fruits, the return on investment can be huge.
Yeah. So we've touched quite a bit on the networking aspect. When it comes to having a passion towards small business, what are some of these other needs that you see rise to the top quite often with small businesses to help them really get up and going and see success as they get involved with the chamber?
Yeah, a lot, if not most, small business owners don't realize that, they hate politics. They don't realize how much politics is a part of everybody's day-to-day life and in business as well. So another thing we do really, really well is we help some small businesses, entrepreneurs navigate politics, navigate the political side of, of getting your license, of getting your project through planning and zoning, finding the right construction company, union, non-union, all that kind of stuff. We navigate that really, really well. And so that's a big advantage for a small business owner, because you can imagine, walking into City Hall with nobody that can help hold your hand and navigate all of that can be overwhelming and can be destructive.
Yeah, absolutely. And having that support, that guidance of what to do next and how to navigate those confusing, intimidating, situations for a new business owner, small business owner is so crucial. And being prepared as a chamber to be able to help them navigate that is very important.
Exactly.
Well, Peter, as we start to wrap things up, I wanted to ask you, for listeners who are interested in taking their chamber up to the next level, what kind of tip or action item might you suggest for them to try to implement that goal?
Every community is different, so every chamber can operate a little differently, but there's some fundamentals that are, I think, key to every chamber's success, and that is, deliver on what you promise. So be careful what you promise because you must deliver. The folks are, this is how seriously I take this. My mentality of being president of the Latin Chamber of Commerce is uh, I run a publicly traded company. The members are my shareholders. They literally write a check to this chamber, but in a lot of ways, they're writing that check because they believe in me. I have to take it that serious. So, yeah, that's putting a lot of extra pressure on me, and I love it. And I take it very, very serious. So I want my shareholders to have value. They have a share in the Latin Chamber of Commerce. You're going to have value. And I wake up every day thinking that way. So that sets the tone of what I'm going to do. And so I'm very focused, very laser focused on bringing value to my shareholders. That's my members.
I love that approach, and that it really just hones it down to what do you need to do to provide value
Yeah.
and
I mean,
deliver
listen,
on what you promise. That's huge.
yeah, I'd like to provide you, some fancier, long strung out answer, but that's the fundamental of what I do.
Yeah.
That's the fundamental of how I think and wake up every morning.
Yeah. Well, the first thing you said with that response is deliver on what you promise. And I think there's a lot of times where chambers are really good at thinking of programs or accepting new programs that are presented to them. And things can become very overwhelming with all these things that need to be done. And just deliver on what you promise. And if you can't deliver, don't promise it. Don't do it. Cut it out and really focus on those things that move the needle. So I like that.
That's my approach, and I think if we start there, chambers will have success.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful to not turn into a social club and the same old, same old. Think outside the box, get bold, because remember, you represent your shareholders, and they're looking to you for value.
Right. So, Peter, as we look to the future of chambers of commerce, how do you see the future of chambers and their purpose going forward?
Well, listen, I know there's nervousness out there in the chamber world because of artificial intelligence and automation, computer modernization. We look at that at the Latin Chamber as all opportunities. It goes back to the very fundamental that I already said, but all of these tools now are going to help me deliver that with much more speed, much more accuracy. So don't fear that. Don't embrace. You got to embrace it. If you want to exist in the chamber world, you have to embrace these things.
Yeah, I love that. So important to be able to embrace the technologies and the changes that are coming. And I'll say that with a caveat, because there's some ideas that come out that get a lot of traction and they fizzle out. But those things that you get that feeling, that sense, this is going to stick, this is going to be around for a while and make an impact on business. You got to be all in. You got to learn it. You got to teach it. You got to be all in.
With the caveat for me, and I'm old school, but I'm never going to change what I'm about to tell you, and that is, you can automate, modernize, embrace all those tools. I do, and I will. But walking up to an individual, the one-on-one, person-to-person contact, making them feel a way that AI and automation won't be able to, still makes us important.
Yeah. That human contact, that
And
personal
human
touch, you
contact.
can't replace that. Yeah.
Can't.
Yeah. Amen. Well, Peter, I wanted to give you a chance to share any contact information for listeners who may want to reach out and connect with you and learn more about your approach or things you guys are doing there at the Latin Chamber. What would be the best way for them to reach out and connect?
Yeah, man, feel free to say hello. Feel free to, first of all, go to our website, lvlcc.com. LV as in Las Vegas, LVLCC as in Latin Chamber Commerce.com. Our phone number is 702-385-7367. My name is Peter Guzman, and I promise you that if you call, you will speak to me.
Awesome. We'll get that in our show notes to make it easy. If someone's driving, they don't need to try to jot it down, that phone number, but we'll get it in the show notes. So, Peter, I appreciate you spending time with us today, sharing your approach, your passion towards small business. This should be one of those episodes that reinvigorates somebody listening and says, yes, let's get back to basics. Let's drive what's important, right? So,
I hope so. And I hope we can do this again. Let's make this an ongoing thing.
That sounds great. I look forward to seeing what the future is for the Latin Chamber and what some of these upcoming changes might be. So sounds like a plan.
Excellent. Thank you.
If you are a chamber professional, please subscribe to Chamber Chat Podcast in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. When you subscribe to Chamber Chat Podcast, new episodes will show up in your podcast app each week as they are released. If you're finding value in this podcast, please leave us a rating and a review in iTunes. But most importantly, please share Chamber Chat Podcast with your colleagues that are in the industry.